Versatile Mage. Chapter 677. Chest burning with anger. Little Flame Bell. A path was cleared through the wall of skeletons. Mo Fan sprinted through the gap, which was soon filled by more skeletons with arms like bone swords. They completely sealed off the path. Luckily, Mo Fan finally found Little Flame Bell after making his way through the woods of skeletons. He was extremely shocked when he saw Little Flame Bell surrounded by white bones. Little Flame Bell had unleashed all her strength, and even more than that, the power was something she had never possessed before. The spectacular 1,000 piercing fire feathers had eliminated hundreds of skeletons in the area. Their bones were burned down to tiny bits, like a layer of sawdust on the ground. Ying, regardless of how determined Little Flame Bell was, she was completely worn out when she saw Mo Fan. She quickly flew to him, seeking some spiritual comfort. However, when she was less than 20 meters away from Mo Fan, something covered in bone sabers suddenly jumped out from the piles of bones on the ground. Its spinning sabers sliced through Little Flame Bell's body. Little Flame Bell had depleted her energy after executing the 1,000 piercing fire feathers. She never thought a skeleton general would be hiding among the skeletons. It was too late when Mo Fan saw the skeleton general jumping out from the piles of bones. He watched Little Flame Bell slam into the ground less than 20 meters away after the bone sabers sliced through her. It looked like her tiny body almost burst open from the impact. Mo Fan's eyes became bloodshot after witnessing the scene. Anger erupted in his chest like a volcano, turning into the enraged roar of a beast after reaching his throat. Die! Mo Fan leapt into the air. His fist erupted into vigorous flames as it scorched through the air, like a tiny meteorite flying right above the ground. The fist landed accurately on the skeleton general. The flames bursting out from the fist were exactly the same as the ones that burst out from a volcano. Its wild momentum alone knocked the skeleton general flying 100 meters away. The flames covered the entire skeleton general. Its head exploded into pieces and landed in fragments in front of Mo Fan. The disparate parts of its body fell to the ground in many places. If the flames were able to burn the skeleton general's undead crystal to ash, Mo Fan's explosive fist would have killed the skeleton general almost instantly. Mo Fan did not care if the skeleton general was still alive. He lifted Little Flame Bell from the ground. Little Flame Bell's back had a long cut. She was almost sliced in half. Mo Fan's chest pulsated heavily when he saw the severely injured Little Flame Bell. It was about to explode at any second. The undead did not have any hint of mercy. No matter how much Mo Fan cared about Little Flame Bell, they still came endlessly. The 1,000 piercing fire feathers had annihilated quite a large number of the skeletons, yet it was still an insignificant number compared to the whole army of skeletons. The sound produced from the skeletons' moving joints was rather noisy. Mo Fan knew there were at least 100 of them within 50 meters from his position without raising his head. The skeletons could instantly chop him into minced meat. Die, all of you! Roared Mo Fan. Purple-black lightning burst out from his body and danced wildly in the area. Mo Fan did not move from his position. 3 astonishing lightning bolts came down consecutively. One of them landed right on the head of a skeleton in its advancing period and instantly disintegrated it into white dust. More lightning danced in the air and descended in forks, leaving the silhouettes of dragons in the air as they continued to bring destruction down upon the place. The burning smell lingered in the air as white ash of bones drifted with the wind. The place was covered in continuous lightning strikes, covering the field in electricity. Mo Fan stood right in the middle of the display. The wild lightning shone on his pale face, yet his grim black pupils did not show any hint or thought of giving up. Like machines, more undead appeared before the ash had completely dissipated. It felt like a tide was coming to devour the place. No matter how hard you tried to kick the tide away, it would still return at a higher level. 29. Mo Fan took a deep breath and uttered the strange number. The skeletons were swarming toward Mo Fan from the front, the back, the sides, and the air. The skeletons on the ground mostly consisted of 4 circles, but more skeletons were leaping into the air, falling onto him like a white net. Groundbreak. Mo Fan slammed his fist onto the ground right beside his feet, inserting rose flame into the ground. The surface could no longer withhold the rumbling energy underneath it, and a gorgeous groundbreak in the shape of a flower blossomed under Mo Fan's feet. The fiery flower burst out from the ground, knocking the skeletons that were trying to kill him away helplessly. Some were knocked back, some were tossed into the air, some were knocked flying. Most of them were set on fire. 30. Mo Fan uttered another number. It felt like he was keeping count. A piercing screech came from not far away. Mo Fan followed the screech and saw the skeleton general whose head was blasted open by him standing there. He had no idea how the creature was making the sound, but it was still commanding its subordinates to attack him. It was obvious that the skeleton general was greatly humiliated by its defeat. It immediately summoned all its reliable comrades to challenge Mo Fan. Take a rest, don't force yourself. Mo Fan softly patted Little Flame Bell's back and said gently. Ying. Little Flame Bell hugged Mo Fan's arm tightly and rested her head on Mo Fan's back in a peaceful manner. She was no longer afraid, regardless of the number of skeletons surrounding them. Mo Fan fixed his gaze on the skeleton general that was waving its arms around. Fleeing shadow. Shuttle. Mo Fan stepped forward. His figure suddenly turned blurry and vanished among the shadows of the white skeletons. A shadow swept past like a black raven. The clumsy skeletons were somehow aware that Mo Fan was hiding in the lump of shadow. They immediately slashed at the shadow with their arms. The bone sabers left marks on the ground, but they failed to land on the raven's shadow that Mo Fan had turned into. Mo Fan silently wove through hundreds of skeletons and appeared right in front of the skeleton general that had lost its brain. Mo Fan would never forgive anything that dared to harm his Little Flame Bell. Chapter end. Please guys like, comment, share, and subscribe.